in the first half and then 1 in the second half.
Alrighty, so everybody, welcome in. It is the Team of the Year stream. The link has been posted, so people should be filling in. Some of you guys, this is going to be your first Team of the Year stream. It's a long one. A lot of stats. A lot of.
Look, Arch Manning, the game wants it to happen.
Oh God, no. Okay, so how this is going to work is we have a Team of the Year that we select every year for SFA players only. Okay, we have multiple guys each spot. So what Pinstripe and I are going to do is go through all the stats. You guys can help us pick in the comments as well. I just know Arch Manning isn't making it. And then after we kind of have a base, we're going to go through every team and just make sure we didn't miss anybody. So at quarterback, as far as quarterback rating goes, Teddy Bridgewater is actually number 3. I'm going to sort it by yards first. So Mariota has the most yards out of any SFA quarterback. He has 43.66. He went 41-3 on interceptions. And the next best is like 200 less, or like 500 less passing yards. No, 200 less passing yards. And he also put up 700 yards rushing and 10 TDs. I don't think anybody passes Mariota for number 1. Do you agree, Pinstripe?
This is uncontested, in my opinion.
At least for right now. But yeah, I think it's a pretty universal. Mariota kind of popped off this year. And he's always been underrated or whatever, but as a junior, he popped off, and they won their bowl game. So, easy Mariota, yeah. Now, number 2, because we only have 2 quarterback spots, this is going to be a little bit more difficult. So, you have, let me just get it here. Okay, so we have, as far as yardage, I think it goes down to these 4, right? So you have Kiko Strong. He threw 4,100 yards, 38-7. Now, Kiko is not a runner. He only had 88 yards and 2 TDs on the ground. Then he had Trevor Siemian, who did win the Maxwell. He had 4,000. He had a few more TDs, 42. He also threw 1 more interception, but he had a lot more rushing yards and 1 more rushing TD. Boykin, he's a lot less on the interception, or a lot less on the TDs and more on the interceptions, but he did put up a lot more yardage, as well as 7 more rushing TDs. And then finally, Hunley, 3,900, 25-11, 600 yards, but no rushing TDs really. So, I mean, personally, for me, it comes down to Kiko Strong and Trevor Siemian, and I don't know which to give it to.
I think it should be Simeon. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm leaning Siemian just because he has 4 more TDs. He does have the 1 more interception. He has 4 more TDs. He's also has a bit more rushing production, and the game gave him the. Think Siemian wins handedly. Yeah.
Cal just had a better year than Iowa State too. For those that care about that.
Team performance does matter. 6 losses, or they went 6-7. No, yeah, he beat Ole Miss. Yeah, 7-6. All right, so right now our quarterbacks are done for now. I mean, I think quarterbacks are pretty much done. Yeah.
Not for this specifically, but like, let's say we get like a Lamar Jackson type guy in the future, and he just goes crazy rushing. Would he be a running back on this or a quarterback?
Quarterback.
Okay, I only ask because of the Tank Sessions thing.
Oh, that's different. Because he went crazy on the pancakes, but like that's just disrespectful to because you may call him like putting Lamar Jackson running back is disrespectful. All right, and for running backs, it's an easy choice. Yeah,
decided already. So it's just the second
team of the year.
About, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So the second one is really all it is. I mean, look at this. He had 1,900 yards. He's the player of the year. So Now, as far as who's
Kind
up
of has.
next, this is going to be tough because there's not anybody else up here that's an SFA player that necessarily had a great year. I think the next highest rusher is Spencer Ware, so he's one. So you got Spencer Ware. He went 1,400 yards, 13 rushing TDs. As far as receiving, though, he only had 8 catches. Like, I feel like at running back, there might be somebody a better, but that's a good start. So Spencer Ware, and then who would be next? I think next is Brandon Thomas is not an SFA player. Nyder Finley, the rookie. Okay, so look at this. He had 1,200 yards, so 200 less. Chris Tyree is not an SFA player. He is just a Notre Dame player. So Nyder Finley, 1,200 yards. He does have 6 more touchdowns, though, than Spencer Ware. And he has 400 receiving yards. So more total yards, more TD, or 7 more TD, 7 or 8 more TDs. So Nyder Finley, maybe. Alfred Blue is another option for us. So he had 1,200 yards.
No touchdowns, though, geez.
Yeah, only 8. And then receiving-wise, he had 4. Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, honestly, with the touchdown number, I think you have to give it to Nyder. Silas Red. Now, somebody I would consider... So Silas Red had 1,100 yards, 14 TDs. Receiving only 3. So somebody I actually kind of want to consider or look at is a guy on Syracuse and a guy in Toledo. So Marquise Lee, the SFA player, he had receiving yards. He had 800 receiving yards, 7 TDs. But rushing, he also had 600 yards and 7 TDs. So he basically had...
So it's 1,414 touchdowns.
Yeah, 1,414 touchdowns. I still think Nyder is above him. And then the one other guy I wanted to check is Syracuse and J.J. Nelson. So, rushing, he had... Or receiving, he only had 400 yards. And then 585 and 9. So JJ's not even close. Let me see Snoop Todd. I mean, I'll just flash it real quick, but we're going to do a full roster review for everybody. But Snoop Todd, he was hurt.
Don't flash.
He was hurt 400 rushing yards.
Oh my God.
Okay. Snoop Todd might be the worst player I've ever seen. Okay.
Dude, Apollo Ames is better than that shit.
I think for right now, we put Nyder Finley because those touchdowns, let me just see how that compares. That's 4th in the country on rushing.
What's the, can I see Ware versus Finley?
Yeah, so Ware versus Finley.
Because that's pretty much all I'm looking at right now.
So Spencer Ware, 1,400 yards, 13 rushing TDs, and then only 88 receiving yards. So that's 13 total touchdowns.
What's the yardage? What is...
So,
had how many yards?
Nyder, he has 1,200, so a little over 200 less, but he has 6 more rushing touchdowns, and then he has 400
I think
receiving.
this goes to Nyder.
Yeah.
My opinion, this is Nyder.
He's not getting it for... We are going to go over each of your teams. So right now we're going to go Nyder Finley at 2. The freshman. It's not often a freshman makes it. All right, wide receiver.
Who's number 5 overall?
Yeah. Dude, look at this guy, man. Yusef Terry.
Dude, is the same guy that last year caught every pass in that one game?
151 receptions, 2,200 yards. God damn.
Jesus Christ. And he's only a junior.
Touchdowns. Okay, I'm going to go by yardage, and then we'll just go. I think Quincy Enunwa is probably an easy number 1. I mean, he's the 4th most yards by a receiver. He had almost 100 catches, 14 touchdowns. That is regression for him from last year, honestly. But, I mean, he was fantastic. He's on one of the best teams. So I think Enunwa is a pretty easy first choice.
I agree. Wholeheartedly.
Now let's take a look at...
I think Antoine's next, I believe.
No. Mo Alley Cox actually might get 2 because let's take a look. So he had 1,200.
13 TDs.
13 TDs.
John Humphrey.
Rushing. He didn't do anything in the rush game. So, okay, 13
What did he do
touchdowns. I don't think... Oh, he returned 2 punts for 18 yards, and he didn't get a return TD.
I know last year he was on there, so I was just wondering.
Gotcha. Okay, so I don't see anybody else close. For right now, I'm just going to pencil Mo in for 2. Now, I do want to consider Marquise Lee probably for 3
Yeah,
at wide
if no one
receiver.
else stands out, that's... Yeah.
So let's just
It was
reminded.
1,404.
He only had 860 yards receiving, but he had 7 touchdowns, and then total yardage that winds up being 1,400 yards and 14 TDs. That's arguably better production than Mo, but at the same time, Mo's just strictly a receiver.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, honestly, Marquise Lee might be 2, because Mo only has 1,200 yards to 14 and less touchdowns.
I think for now, I'm putting Mo at 2 and
Lee at 3.
Lee at 3.
All right.
But I'm not on that.
Now let's keep going here. See if we see any other. These are just the... Okay, Kenny Stills is an option here. He broke 1,000 yards as a senior. 10 touchdowns. Did he do anything else? Nothing in rushing. Kick returning. He returned a few kicks, but nothing crazy. Okay, so that's 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. I think there's somebody better, though.
Yeah, I mean, for now, it's 4.
Okay.
Unless there's like a nutty touchdown guy.
Yeah, so DeAnthony Thomas is another option. He had 900 yards, 989, so basically 1,000 yards, 9 receptions, so slightly less on both than Kenny Stills. So I would say Kenny Stills first.
Mm-hmm.
Steve McNair is another option here. 972, 9 touchdowns, but this is by far probably his worst season. Now, rushing, did he do anything? No. I don't think we can give Steve McNair another one, unfortunately. There's still a guy coming I want to talk about.
Screwed over his team.
DeAndre Hopkins is another option. 900.
Paul Richardson, you passed too?
Oh, yeah, we'll look at Richardson. 8 TDs, this doesn't hold. Paul Richardson, he had a lackluster. I think he got injured a few weeks. Yeah, just nothing in the touchdowns. Now, the one guy, where is he? Ruben Randall, shout out to Fink. Shout out to Fink, 900 yards. Ooh, Jeff Hireman, look at this man. 900, he might be team of the year tight end. Come on, where the fuck is Heimlich? He's
not a lot of yards,
Okay, 844, more than last year, but 12 touchdowns. That's more. So does 2 touchdowns overweigh Kenny Stills?
It's 2 touchdowns versus 200 yards. I'm giving it to Kenny Stills.
No, okay, that's fine. I was disappointed with the production, but ECU's offense is kind of tough. Okay.
And I mean, if anything, if you want to go with 844 and 12 touchdowns, I would give it to Brent Boosler.
Okay. Fuck Boosler. All right, so I'm gonna go back. I wish I could do this by tight end, but it doesn't let you do position, unfortunately.
We didn't see any other tight end other than Hireman, so I guess he's got to be one. Or I guess we should go by touchdowns for tight ends, no?
I think, well, yeah, let's just take a look at touchdowns, see if we get anything different. Like any other wide receivers that are crazy. Heimlich Heisenberg. Brent Boosler had 12. Dude, they had the exact same production. Only
that's what I just told you, dude.
Oh.
That is word for word what I just told you.
Sorry, I wasn't talking. I wasn't listening to you.
All
right. Sorry. Let's see. Anybody crazy? Keenan Allen had a decent year. Tight ends, tight ends, tight
First,
ends.
I mean, it's got to be Hierman so far. There's no one else.
Yeah, probably Hireman.
But who's going to be 2?
Okay, so here's 2 options right here. So you have Stephen Moore. He went for 700 yards, 8 touchdowns. Blocking
So
wise,
he's an
he had
SFA player.
6 pancakes. Yeah, Iowa State.
Okay.
6 pancakes, 1
Gotcha.
sack given up, 1 rush. Okay, so that's an option. Another option, Nick O'Leary on Wisconsin. 500 yards, so a lot less yards, but still 8 touchdowns. No rushing.
I think you easily have to lean the Iowa State guy there.
Yeah, so Stephen Moore over him. Now, Zach Howard is an SFA guy as well.
But just no yardage.
Okay, so do you put Stephen Moore then over our boy Hireman?
How many yards did Hireman have?
It's like 700. Let me get to him.
I do, because Hireman was also on a shit-ass
Okay,
fucking
so
team.
Hireman, 900 yards. So 300 more
okay,
yards
that
and
changes
1
things.
less. And now, as far as blocking goes, he did only have 1 pancake. So
I give it Hireman then Moore.
more receiving yards and yeah. Okay, so let's go Jeff Hireman. That's wild.
Hireman's also on the best team in college football. Fun fact.
Okay. Chill out there, buddy. And then Moore is a sneaky one. This is one that might change because it's hard to judge tight end until we're going. What happened
Fink
to
wants
Marshall
us to look at
guy?
Will
He
Tye.
should be team of the year.
Yeah.
Will Tye. Well, I mean, we'll get to him. He's not jumping off the stat sheet right now. So, Nick O'Leary, he only had 500 receiving yards and less TDs. So he's 3 for us right now. But we're going to come back to tight end. Now let's start going based off of linemen. Honestly, normally it's this one we may also change when we're going through. But I think at left tackle, Fergus Sinclair, 54
How do you
pancakes.
do this? Is it just left tackle 1 and right tackle 5, or is it you fit them in where they start first, at their position, if you can?
Like Fergus is a left tackle, so if he should be in it and he's the first one, then we put him at left tackle. If we get another left tackle, then I'll just fill in a different spot. Yeah, it's really just the best lineman. But I think no question Sinclair was a beast. Freshman, the number 2 overall player.
Yeah, I guess that is better than Kemper. No, we had 2 more sacks.
Okay, so
but it doesn't really matter. They're going to be left tackle, right tackle.
No, well, here's the question though. So, yeah, they are left and right, so it doesn't matter. Carver, Kemper, because Kemper played more games and still gave up less sacks. And then I think next is gonna probably be a guy who always makes it.
Luke Jokel.
Yeah, Luke Jokel. I saw him on here. Yep, there he is. 43-3. He's gonna slide into guard this time, which is fine.
Yeah, go left guard. Oh fuck! Gibson touchdown.
Really? Let's go! Run! Give me that,
you're
baby.
Down 3.
I told you guys Gibson averages 15. No one believes me. Thank the Lord.
All right, and before he fumbles and gets benched.
Chill. All right, we got 2 more spots up. Unfortunately, there's not really a way to judge performance. This guy's name, Tiger Shanks. That's a great name.
All-time name.
So we just scroll till we see SFA guys pretty much. If I'm missing someone, let me know.
I'm looking at him. I don't see anything.
I'd like to think I know everyone, but I always end up missing 1 or 2. Like I did on Arkansas during one stream like 2 years ago.
Yeah, you'll never live that down either.
Yeah. Kyle Shop, Brandon Hickman. God, dude,
where
is everyone?
Where's Preston Dane at? Please.
I mean,
he definitely gave up so many sacks. I don't know the actual numbers.
There's no one jumping out at me. John Doe, I believe, is one. John Doe. Wait, can you
John Doe
pull
is
up?
totally one.
Can you
Yeah,
pull up the sheet just to make sure? But I believe he's
yeah.
a season
He'd be a
7
season
guy.
7 guy.
Yeah.
All right, wait a minute.
John Doe, the right tackle. So
Give me 1
30
second.
and 6 isn't amazing.
But it's better than literally everything else, apparently.
And
John Doe, Old Dominion, season 7 guy.
Yep, okay. So
So
John
he's going to
Doe,
go in at
he's
right
going to
guard, I
go
believe.
right guard, yeah. John Doe.
All right,
That's
so now
an
we just
interesting
need
one.
number 5.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We had a few guys get hurt on the offensive line as well, which sucks. Like Tank Sessions would probably be on here. Blake Fisher, I believe he's one. You might.
Do you want me to check?
Yeah, 29 and 5.
What did I see? So he'd be season 6.
Actually, I don't think that's Blake Fisher. I don't think he's one.
Greg Robinson is the only season 6 Notre Dame guy.
Yeah, I know. Okay. So.
Wow, this sucks.
What do you mean?
Jamal Adams.
Love our offensive linemen here in the SFA. You just scroll past Ole Miss. He's never going to have a good player. Cameron
Rough.
Dye.
Come on, Dane. Pop.
Thane is not going to pop, dude. Thane is trash.
He's coming. He's coming.
Titsworth, yeah. That's a real-life player.
All-time name. Come on, Dane. He's coming. I feel it.
Greg Brown. Come on, baby. I don't think anyone's ever scrolled through every pancake in the country.
Imagine just no other SFA player has a single goddamn pancake.
No, they're coming. It's hard for a lot of our SFA guys to start on the line. I found that out. Unless they're like the top tier. No, it's just yeah. So this is one that we might switch later on.
Yeah.
God, where are the players?
Oh my god.
So center could be an L. So we might find a tight end or something with a decent pancakes. Oh shit. Preston Thame, freshman.
Let's go!
Okay, hold on. 8 sacks. So you gotta. Okay, Andrew Whitworth, 20 pancakes, 5 sacks. That's better.
Fuck you.
That is better.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
All right, let's check the rest of the 20s. That's a 4 pinstripe pack.
Dude, I got baited. I got baited so hard.
You did. That I might have to clip that one. That's funny. All right, I'm just going through the rest of the 20s just to make sure. 20 and 5.
I hate my life.
I mean, that's still okay.
We'll take a
at
6
center.
All right.
Okay, so that's surprising. So 2 freshman linemen.
All right, DH ballers, get out of the chat, man, please.
All right. God, dude, that guy is a madman. All right. Defensively, this is where it gets hard. So this is when going through everything is going to be rough. So we have 4 D-line, 3 linebackers, 3 corners, 2 safeties, kicker, punter. Okay, so let's go through tackles for loss first. I think this is potentially important. Okay, so first up on SFA players for tackles for loss, Terry Schooler.
Terry Schooler.
7.5 sacks, 20 tackles for loss. He had nothing for fumbles or anything, so he is
70 tackles too. Yeah, he'll be on the short list for sure.
Michael Morris, I think, is a Team of the Year guy. He had two less tackles for loss, 1 sack less. He did have 4 deflections and a fumble forced, but I
And
think
101 tackles.
yeah, so a lot more tackles because Terry Schooler only
Led the
has
country in
70.
tackles after 12 games each. Just throwing
So
that out there.
okay, so obviously you're biased, but who would you guys think is first? Would it be? Actually, I don't think either of these guys are end up going to be being first, but those are the two in mind right
Yeah.
now. Because I think there's one
Wait,
guy.
I know I'm biased. I'd put Morris over Schooler because I think 40 tackles outweighs 1 sack.
So Kevin Williams is another one. 8.5 sacks, so better than both of those guys. 24 tackles for loss. He had 5 deflections. He did have a forced fumble. So Kevin Williams is another one.
Did Morris have a forced fumble or not? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Good one.
Dominique Easley, he's not getting a Team of the Year this year. Only 3.5 sacks. That's kind of bad.
That's brutal.
For defensive end.
He was my early pick for player of the year.
He did have fumble force and fumble recoveries. It's just he's on a bad team.
Think you just left the MAC and you're already talking shit.
This is who I think is probably going to be number 1. So we already have a lot of good guys to choose from. 23 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks for Shad. I'm going to sort this by sacks because this is going to be the most impactful stat. So
yeah.
Boyko had 9.5. Did anybody else? Kevin Williams had 8.5. Jeremiah Atachu, he won the Best D Lineman award, the Nagurski. 22 tackles for loss, so that is less. Only 68 tackles. And he had 3 deflections, a forced fumble, so not much else other than the 8.5. And then you
I love you too, Frank.
That's 7.5. Let's see. James Ray also had 7.5. He had a lot less tackles for loss, though, and only 43 total tackles. 2 deflections, 1 fumble forced, no defensive TDs. I don't think that's worthy, even though he is at the sack total. I think the 28 tackles for loss is better for Schooler. Ika's not SFA. J.J. Watt could get on here. He had 15 tackles for loss, 6.5.
I don't think he makes it at all.
He didn't do enough, no.
40 tackles is pretty bad.
Golston, 17, 6.5, 3 deflections.
All right, so I think
David
my
Young.
short list is Morse, the Syracuse guy, Boyko, Schooler, and then Atachu. Those 5. I think 4 of those 5 make it.
Well, yeah. So which one doesn't make it, though? That's the problem. Because Morse is all the way down here, but I gotta agree, the tackles for loss kind of plays a role. He has the same, if not better, forced fumbles. So I think you have to honor the sacks. I think far and away,
totally.
Shad Boyko, and he had 70 tackles. He's up there on the tackles for loss.
So you want to give Shad Boyko 1?
Yeah, I think you got to, and he's on a playoff team, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Boyko's 1. Now, D2. So, you have Kevin Williams. Only 1 deflection or whatever. 8.5 sacks, 24, only 62. God, dude, this is going to be close.
I think that's...
So, okay, let's go one by one.
That's
Who's
definitely over.
More tackles, less tackles for loss, same sacks. But Atachu also had the forced fumble. I think
Atachu was on a top 10 team. I give it to Atachu.
You say Atachu over Williams. Okay, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
No, Jamon Gordon is not. All right, now let's find Schooler. Okay, so we already agreed James Ray's out. Okay, so 70 tackles. They won total less sack, but a lot more TFLs. 5 deflections. Honestly, I think Schooler's the odd man out. I don't think Does 6... Okay, we're going to need help from chat. Does 6 TFLs outweigh 1 total less sack? They're all very comparable on the... like, it's very comparable, but it's 1 total less sack. And then he has a few more tackles for loss. Syracuse is better than Cincinnati by 3 wins.
I think Schooler's man out too.
B-Dog, is he 2 TFLs each, 1 sack in your opinion? Okay, so you think Schooler would be ahead of Kevin Williams?
Guys, if Morse doesn't make it, I'm gonna.
Okay, so here's the thing about Morse is he's at 6.5. But
now I understand the sacks
Morse has 26 TFLs, so that Fink thinks 6 TFLs is more than 1 sack. Okay, so everyone's in agreement that Schooler is in over Williams right now. And I think Atachu, I think he could go 1 or 2. I would give it to Atachu just because of the in-game award as well. Now, Michael Morse, here's the thing. All those other guys have 60 total tackles, 70 total tackles. He has 101. 26 were tackle for loss. That's the only guy who has more is Schooler. He does only have 6.5 sacks, but he also has the forced fumble. So, honestly, I think 40 tackles or 30 tackle difference is...
Fink's the man.
Okay. So, in my opinion, I'm going to go... honestly, I'm going to put Boyko's 1. I think Atachu is 2. I think you give Morse 3 and Schooler 4.
I am 100% fine with that.
Okay, so Boyko 1, Atachu. This could change later if I missed somebody. Atachu. Morse is 3. And then Schooler is the 4th defensive tackle.
I can't even argue against Morse because... like in-game, Boyko won Freshman All-American, and Atachu won the award.
Yeah. No, I think that's correct. Okay, so now we go to linebackers.
Aw, thank you, flatter me.
So linebackers is going to be hard to figure out until we go through everything because it's really difficult because they, like, sacks are for linemen, interceptions and deflections are for secondary, and then linebacker is a mixture of all of it, right? So let's just go by interceptions first. So if we see linebackers, we'll fill them in. I think there's no question at corner that Fork isn't number 1. 78 tackles, 6 tackles for loss.
Insane. That's an insane season.
He had 6 interceptions, 10 deflections, 3 forced fumbles, 1 recovery. He did not get the defensive touchdown. Now, there's a few more guys I think have a chance here to be over Fork.
But I would start with Fork at 1.
Yeah, Fork's a monster. Fink thinks Morse should be 1. Tackles are most important for linebackers. Yeah, I can agree with that. But let's do these. Now, Dechard Pippins, one of my favorite players. He had... not nearly as many tackles. He did have 6 interceptions, so same as Fork. He had 2 less deflections, only 1 forced fumble, and he did not have a defensive touchdown. I think Dechard Pippins deserves consideration as well.
Okay.
So those are the top 2. Here is a man for linebacker. We'll go through linebacker later with the tackles, but Telvin Smith, 4 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 5 interceptions. That's beast mode. 2, and a defensive touchdown. Telvin Smith is a monster.
All right, did that say 6 forced fumbles? Did I see that right?
It was 2. 6 deflections. We're going through. We're gonna do corner first. Yeah, so Telvin Smith, I'm just going to jot him down for linebacker, Telvin Smith, because that's nutty. He's probably going to be 1. All right, let's go back to our interception list here. So, Kyle Fuller, he had a sack, and he actually had a lot more tackles, so he was a lot more into the run defense. 5 interceptions. Mm-hmm. 8 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, 2 recoveries, and he did have a defensive touchdown. I think that's could just as easily be up there as well. Let's see. This is the guy I think we should be considering. So Kiffin, when you're comparing to Fuller, Fuller is a lot better in run defense. They both had a sack, both 5 interceptions. But James Kiffin had 20 deflections, 2 forced fumbles, and wait for it, 2 defensive touchdowns. I think Kiffin with 20 deflections is probably
Should be 2.
CB2 behind Fork.
I agree.
I think that, yeah, so right now, I think my rankings would be Fork, James Kiffin, and then Dechard Pippins at 3. Yeah,
I
James
agree 100%.
Kiffin is insane. I was scrolling through deflections. He's like top 5 in the country, I think. Kyle Horry, the safety. So this is another thing that we got to look at for safeties. 6 tackles for loss. Only 67 tackles. He had 1.5 sacks. He did have 5 interceptions, 7 deflections. Nothing on the fumbles, though.
I think
he did block something.
I think you write him.
Yeah, I'm going to write him.
I think you write him down, though, just in case.
Yeah, Horry. Okay. Let's keep going with... Le'Veon's the best safety. Don't play. I mean, I haven't seen him yet.
Could we consider Le'Veon's rushing stats for his safety at all, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Frank Beamer,
Beamer.
he's Fink's created player. 6 tackles for loss. He is a corner. 4 interceptions, 7 deflections, 1 and 2. No, that's just not good enough. Let's keep going. Benet Benwickery is another one. 4 interceptions, no deflections. Okay, he's gone. Ephesians Prysock. Let's go. Nothing on tackles, 4 interceptions, 2 deflections. Yeah, no. Okay, I think we're pretty good here on corner for right now. Tyrell Keys, the man who ended the career of Garrett Grayson. Okay, so I'm going to write him in for right now. Fork, Kiffin.
Pippins.
God, dude, I love that. This team would win a natty, I swear. Okay, so now let's go through tackles. So I'm going to search by just total tackles. All right.
Wait, did we get a safety other than the Iowa guy? Or no?
No, I don't
Did
have
we?
any. No
Just
other
one
safeties
safety
right
guy.
now. Yeah, we're just... All right, so total tackles here. First is Michael Morris, obviously. Jake Ryan, the SFA player, originally drafted.
Ooh, let's write him down.
Drafted by Fink. So, yeah, so we're doing linebacker safety kind of duel. Now, here's the thing, though. Only 3 sacks. Nothing in coverage here. 3 deflections. A forced fumble. And on a shit team.
Yeah, but
yeah,
you know what? You know my opinions on 100+ tackle players on shit teams.
So Jake Ryan, I don't know if you put him above Telvin Smith right now because Telvin Smith just had a ton of production, like 5 interceptions. I think is
on an ACC title or ICC title appearance, Miami.
Yeah, Golden Nelson.
So I'd go Telvin then Jake Ryan.
Yeah. Let's keep going. Oh, baby. Strong safety, the 7-footer who can't jump. I don't know if you guys know about him.
93 tackling?
Okay, dude, this guy, Alton Jackson is a monster. Look at this. 15 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks for a safety, 3 picks.
That's got to be above the Illinois guy.
Okay, 6 deflections, nothing on the fumbles. And he had a defensive touchdown. Alton Jackson is the best player in the SFA.
That's above the Illinois guy. I don't care.
Bruh.
That is so good.
I love this man. 4.5 sacks. Yeah, no one cares about the solos. He's a monster. Okay, I'm writing his name down. Alton Jackson, the 7-footer. We love that man. All right.
We do.
4.5 sacks from a safety is kind of crazy.
It's so good.
I love Martin Black. He's one of my favorite CP players. All right.
Thanks for sharing.
All right, Shaquan Bowser, the freshman. He was a top 10 prospect. He had 91 tackles, 57 solo, 9 TFLs, 1.5 sacks. So less than Jake Ryan. He did have an interception, which is a tiny bit more than Ryan, but 10 less tackles, 5 deflections, and he didn't have anything else. I think
this is an easy 3.
He's a poor man's Matt Ryan or Jake Ryan or whatever that guy's name is. Okay.
Matt Ryan. No, it's the Ole Miss quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Max Bolo, one of the LBU guys. 90 tackles, 7 TFLs, so less than Bowser. He had a little bit more sacks, no interceptions. Unfortunately, I think Bolo's not going to be on there this season.
Yeah, sucks. Just like the other 2 great SDSU guys that made the past 2 years, but not senior season.
Let's keep going. John Bostic, the 6-year senior. One of the guys from the original class. 8 TFLs, only 1 sack, only 1 interception. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think he makes the roster. Okay, actually, hold on. He has 1 less than Bowser. Bowser, I believe, has half a sack more. They're same on the interceptions, but he adds more deflections and has the fumbles. I think Bostic is over Bowser.
I agree.
Okay. So Bostic.
It's not just my Steeler bias either.
That cracks me up. You get someone to year 6. No, technically it's not year 6. That includes like the transfer to the new simulator. No, I don't really see anybody else. So
I think we got our 3.
Okay, no, this is a guy who probably has to be on the list. Jamal Okiki, the 7th.
Yeah, but he's a safety.
Well, yeah. 2 interceptions, 8 deflections, the forced fumble. I don't think he beats Alton Jackson, and I'm not sure about Kyle Horry.
Yeah, but I think he beats the Illinois. I forget about the Illinois guy, but that'll be closer for the second safety spot.
Well, so Horry had 5 interceptions. Jamal Okiki only has 2.
But Okike has more tackles and more deflections on a playoff team.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Come back to that. Cameron Nwosu. Okay, this is somebody who might be making an impact here. He has more TFLs than Bostic and the other guy. He has 6 sacks. That's double what Ryan has. He has 1 interception. That's more or equal. He has the deflections, 3 forced fumbles. We got to put...
This is linebacker 2.
Yeah, we got.
This is linebacker 2.
So Bostic's out. Ryan to 3, and then Nwosu is 2. So yeah, this is the few positions that we just keep knocking guys out because guys get even more crazy. Patrick Skov, he is an SFA player. 11 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, 0 interceptions. Yeah, no, he's not.
See ya.
Yeah, we'll go through the individual teams, but Will Williams. All right, so
if Jabo's still here.
We're starting to get back to some of these corners. Patrick Carey, not your guy.
Wait, where is he? Let's fucking go, Patrick Carey. Only 1 sack. Dolak.
All right, Norkeithus. He's been on it before. He had not the best year. No, you can't give
All right,
him this.
I think we got our three. We're not gonna find anything.
Yeah, okay, so I have Telvin Smith, then I have Nwosu, and then I have Jake Ryan.
I agree. McNasty, you screwed your boys by running triple option. Yeah.
Your defense
Sorry. Hate to
sucks.
say it.
Your defense sucks, and your offense just didn't have the production this year. It was running the triple option for like way too much. All right,
Good luck with Ham Fay,
I'm gonna
though. I won't
force
lie.
by. Yeah, James Kiffin was tied for second in the country there. I'm just gonna quickly go
Jesus.
through these. I think for the most part we have safety nailed down. I think one is probably Alton Jackson for sure right now, and then two we have to decide.
Yeah, and it's
but we'll do
between
that.
Okike and
Yeah. Okiki and Hori. Anyone had an insane amount of recoveries? I don't see.
Where's
anybody.
Tyran? Was he hurt?
He did not really play that well this year. He never gets any.
Yeah.
He never really. Chris Davis. This is a man we need to talk about.
Ooh, okay, wait.
5 tackles
I see we
for
view
loss.
him as a whole player.
Yeah, well,
Like,
okay.
rushing, receiving.
I don't think he had 2 defensive touchdowns. One of them was the fumble recovery in the playoff. 10 deflections, only 3 picks. He's not going to be a corner. I like our corners way too much. Pippins had,
Yeah.
and he had way more I say Chris Davis is not.
Well, let's just look what he did offensively. If you don't, or you don't have to, I guess.
Let's see. Blocking, nothing. Receiving, he had 22 catches, 400 yards, 5 receiving TDs. Rushing, only 6 attempts. He did not pass. And did he return kicks at all? Yeah, he returned everything, but no touchdowns.
Okay, so no.
So,
That's what
Chris
I'm gonna say.
Davis gets left off, but he had his senior moment. We will look at
He did.
Le'Veon Bell when we get to him and when we go through everything. But let's nail down the kicker and the punter here. Honestly,
Kicker,
field goal
Vanderkamp.
percentage I think matters probably. So Wayne Rooney had the best percentage here. He went 19 of 21, 53 long. I mean, I don't know. He hit all his extra points.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
He had, how many were above 50? He went 1 for 2 above 50. Okay. Wayne Rooney's a good one. Let's see if anybody else matches.
I don't hate that. Where's Vanderkamp at? He's got a nice.
Okay, Brad Wing, he's done this before. 83%, just a lot less. So he only had 10 made field goals, as long as a 44. I don't really think that's all that great. Nate Diaz.
No, I definitely give
53 long. He hit 5 less and missed 1 more. The only thing for me, this potentially could flip it. He went 3 for 3 from 50 plus. That's pretty good.
Ooh.
But I don't
think that's above Rooney, but I think that's above Wing.
Yeah. And here's Vanderkamp. So he had more makes total, but he had 5 misses. And didn't even get to 50, and he had 1 blocked. Vanderkamp choked.
Yeah.
All right, Rooney.
All right, so we can agree Rooney definitely the kicker.
Yeah, Rooney. We might have to come back to kicker for punter. We'll see. Punting wise, I don't know.
Do you ever actually give it to a punter?
Well, yeah.
How many punters are there?
I don't think we have all that many.
I know you have McAfee and who's the other punter last year?
Yeah, let's take a look. I mean, I'm not seeing anyone so far.
I mean, I am blanking right now. Who's the other
I'm
punter?
going by like the average long. Probably what we want to go by is the number inside the 20 as well. But for right now, sort of by average.
Oh, it was Randy Orton. Where's Randy Orton?
Randy Orton. Here, let's sort by punts inside the 20 because that's probably a more impactful stat. Is Dominique Dodd one? Can you check on that? That he might be. On Western Michigan.
Let me see.
I think it'd be part
he
of
would
that
have been
shit
what
senior
season?
6. Probably the season 6 or season 7.
Season.
No, season 7, I think.
I remember the name, but I don't see him here. Dominic
Maybe.
Dodd.
I know he's not season 8, I don't believe, because I didn't make that name. I remember the ones I make. Normally, if it's a guy I'm not sure on, it's a season 7 guy. Gavin Myers might be one. No, I don't think so.
I don't see him on here at all.
Can you tell me the punters, or just all the guys from season
All right.
7 that aren't cut? Here he is.
Yeah, wait.
Alright, so Randy Orton, he had 56 punts, 41.4 per, and he got 15 inside the 20. That's not bad, but averaging 41 yards is kind of shit.
All right, here's who's left. Isaiah Howell, Louisiana Tech. Derek Edmonds, Stanford. Ricardo Lorenzo, Virginia Tech. And Joey Cool, Wisconsin.
So Joey Cool
Fuck,
is a
Dominic
kicker.
Dodd. Why do I know that name?
I feel like, can you check just the other season 5, 6, 7, 8?
5 was Parky, Santos, Wing, Sims, Vanderkamp, Diaz, and 6 didn't have kickers or punters.
So honestly what I'm getting from this though is, where is my boy? We got to go to Penn State to see McAfee, see what he did. McAfee 42.3. That's better than Orton. He got 14. Okay, so basically, do we take a better average by 1 and 1 less punt inside the 20? He also had less touchbacks. I think you give it to McAfee.
I honestly have been looking at the sheet, so whatever you think, it's the punter. I'm not too tight about it.
Yeah. All right. McAfee gets, yeah, and a lot more total yards. Yeah, and he had like 20 more punts.
Oh,
right.
Okay. All right. I figured out why I know the name Dominique Dodd, because I kept rooting for him to come onto the field on game day versus Fink.
Oh.
So.
Okay. All right. So, for everybody, that is, we have kind of our base look at everything. So now we're going to go through team by team. The users that I have active right now will come first, and then I'll go through everybody else. So we're just going to kind of do a brief run through every single guy. Nothing crazy. So Jared Lorenzen, passing touchdowns, 29 and 11, only 59%. I think that's probably where these guys can get a lot better. Jalen Daniels, trash. Rushing, Shrenanium, he popped off. Lorenzen, Ningoda. So, some good stats from you guys there. Really would like you to get some more production from your top wide receivers outside Andre Johnson. That's not an SFA player. Blocking, Lumpkin, David Lumpkin. And we got to just try to identify any SFA players that we haven't.
He has 2 corners. That's that I know of. And Aguayo.
Yeah.
Did the corners redshirt?
Yeah, they were all red-shirted.
Right.
Then how did Roberto Aguayo do? 66% for an accuracy kicker. He got 1 blocked. Not the best. And this is your punter. All right, on to the next team. Baylor made it to the semifinals. Honestly, the QB controversy was rough. I'm proud of Teddy Bridgewater.
You think he starts next year?
No. I think it's all Colt Brennan from here on out.
I think he should redshirt Brennan.
Yeah. Marcus Lattimore, you will be missed. What a beast. These are all your rushers. Receiving, Cameron Bonner, honestly, not a good year. He's 96. He got a plus 10 in the offseason. I was expecting him to pop off. Eric Ebron, here's another tight end we didn't see. So, 600 yards, 6 TDs. That's less for both of them. I don't think he makes it. He was probably the shoe-in. Chet Doge, the redshirt freshman, 8 receptions. He'll be a lot more involved, though, next year. Blocking, obviously, Carver Kemper. No, one of them's getting booted. The one who's not active. That's why I let the new guy pick him, because I know we're going to yeet the other one in. All right, so Jamal Okeke, he had 84 tackles. He played so well in the CFP. I think we need to put him over just in general for now.
Yeah.
Baylor, though, Shad Boyko popped off. Obviously, went through him. Bo Blackshear, a right end who had no sacks on the year. That was so weird. Bryce Callahan, he's a beast. He finishes with 3 picks. He didn't do anything crazy. Amos was playing out of his mind throughout the season. Both interceptions coming in the CFP. James Ray, we talked about him. Matt Jones, most of this is him in the playoffs. Josh Berg, this is the guy he got in the transfer portal. He had 11 tackles on the year. Come through, Josh Berg.
He is a shitter.
Okay.
Through and
Bell, and okay. On to the next one. Buffalo, here we are.
Let's go.
Arch Manning, he got 2,500 yards, 20 pass TDs, 18 interceptions. So, okay.
I'm very happy with this season. Very happy.
That's the number that fucked you. 46% completion percentage is just
ridiculous. Do you think that he regresses or progresses?
I really don't know. Apollo Ames, 745, 4 TDs. You'd like the TDs to be up for both of them, honestly. A lot of broken tackles, though. 4 fumbles on the ground for Manning. Randall L., you only gave it to him twice. Receiving-wise, I mean, we've been through this. Only 500 yards freshman year, 3 receiving TDs. I like the freshman production, especially because his catching was so low.
He should get some decent progression.
Obviously, if we watched every game, he'd be like Emeka Egbuka level, right? Catching bombs every game. But now, time 20-8.
Got robbed.
Defense, obviously, Michael Morris. I know Carey got hurt. Or no, it was Housey who got hurt.
House was hurt.
Not this one, the other one. John Elevate, how did he play? 11 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. I mean, that's pretty good.
It's not bad from a freshman. In the D2 slot? DT2?
Yeah, DT2. That's great. Now, how did Barney Fish do? And George?
He only had the 1 pick, and it was on game day.
On game day. You know, that's fine. You know? This is the rest of your guys.
George Jordan. Oh, he sucks. Fuqua. He sucks, too.
Kicking-wise, 7 for 12. And, you know, it's Buffalo, right? Not that great.
Hey.
East Carolina, go through mine. Alex Flynn, thank God he's gone. I hit 41-3, still shit.
Really?
I mean, I'm excited for the Bo Wallace era.
Shit, the Vandy Twitter account just tweeted out the Checker Vandy thing, according to Talkwater.
Randy Watson. Okay, this is rushing.
No touchdowns.
Yeah. Randy Watson, 1 game, started at running back for some reason. That was wild. Yeah, just a weird year. A disappointing year. The most catches was Randy Watson. Most yards, C.J. Johnson. I mean, like, look at this. You have 3 guys who basically all did the same thing. Like, it's just the production wasn't going to be there for Heimlich. He had almost the exact same year as his freshman year. Blocking-wise...
Is he going to be...
Is he going to be what?
He's going to be, like, the only good receiver next year, right?
Yeah. He's going to be number 1 for sure. So, we got Tatum, Sua Cravens. He had 71 tackles, 10 TFLs, 2 sacks, no interceptions. So, no chance at Team of the Year. But that's honestly, like... So, the way I've been building my defense is going after a bunch of safeties. and putting him at linebacker. So I'm hoping that's going to start working out soon. Like, because I feel like on game day, having the speed is the most important thing. And I feel like if you get those strong safety types, that's going to be pretty fire. Deion Buchanan got hurt. J.J. Watt, a monster freshman. Vic Beasley, he's an SFA player, only 1 sack. Aaron Lynch got a sack. So those are some low-level guys.
I think
Kicking,
the problem
Cairo
with this team is the
Santos,
coaching.
only 71%. He regressed 6 in the offseason, one of the most. Rest in peace. And then...
What causes that?
That's ECU? What? Yeah, so Heimlich has 12 touchdowns in each of his first 2 seasons. So Georgia Tech coach Mike, I don't know if he's here, but Jess Sims, he threw 28 to 7. He got over 3,000. I think part of it was obviously we had the playbooks wrong for half the year. 58% completion percentage. He had a couple throws from Blackburn. He threw a couple times. Jordan Yates. Rushing, though, you had 2 guys who were monsters. I mean, Kalani Norris is just a beast. Receiving, Boyd had over 1,000, but McCollum was definitely the go-to man. DJ St. Julian, he had 2 catches. Let's go. Offensive line. Remember, you guys can just pause the video or go through slow. 8 sacks for Jared Ivey. Nice. And remember, he's adding in, who is it? Chandler Jones?
Chandler Jones.
Yep.
Dude,
So,
you made that. How do you not?
I just guessed it. I make a lot of players, dude. I don't know.
No, I know. I'm just...
Kicking-wise, David Shanahan. All right. Iowa State now. Kiko just barely missed out on Team of the Year. 4,000, 38-7. Easily the best freshman in the class.
Debatable.
For QB, is what I meant.
No,
Jarrell Brock,
debatable.
Jarrell Brock, despite missing like 6 weeks, still got above 1,000 yards.
That's crazy good.
Mo Alley,
Juwan
Team
Harvey's
of the
SFA,
Year,
right?
man. So remember, we gotta look out for tight ends as well. So wait, let me go back to Randy Watson. Okay, so right now we have Moore as T at tight end 2. Randy Watson, he has 5 TDs. He has 700 yards receiving. He also has 172 yards rushing. And blocking-wise, he had 4 pancakes, 0 sacks given up. Now, that compared to Iowa State and Stephen Moore, he had 8 touchdowns, 3 more touchdowns, about the same yardage. Yeah, I think you still give it to Stephen Moore. That's upsetting. All right.
Yeah.
Juwan
Also, you should
Harvey.
get me anyone.
Blocking-wise, I don't think he had any guys here. Defensively, let's go to interceptions. Purchase. Harrison Smith, the freshman, how did he do? 48 tackles, none for loss, no sacks. He had that 1 interception on game day, 3 deflections. Really not the best. This defense was kind of ass. Not going to lie. Now, how did his camper pick work out? Because he took Alec Ogletree, moved him to corner. He had 2 interceptions. Few pass deflections, a fumble recovery. So, and remember, his stats got reset for 2 weeks. Barry Bumpus, SFA player. Okay, nothing else here. Kicking, Mueller, 16-16. All right, Louisiana. Passing. He basically had 2 guys play the same amount of time because his starter was hurt for most of the year. These are their stats. Rushing, Nider Finley, Team of the Year, man. Just a beast. Fortunately, he got hurt. I think they win that game if he doesn't get hurt against Georgia Tech. Receiving-wise, this is what we're looking at. Blocking. I think Louisiana might be a dark horse for next season. Defense here, let's check. Darren Williams' stat line, 47 total tackles, no sacks, 1 TFL, 3 interceptions, so he's not Team of the Year worthy. But he had 2 fumble recoveries and 2 forced fumbles. I was actually kind of surprised with how physical this guy was. Yeah. Kicking. Punting. Alright. Minnesota. Cooked by it's actually tight end 4. Trayvon Boykin. Trey Potts. And Jamison Crowder. Decent stat lines for all. Receiving, Kim Middle, only 800 yards. No, not really a big TD guy.
Wow,
On the
bad
offensive
year.
line, not much.
Damn, who is his other receiver? That was all right.
He only has Kim Middle right now. Shaquan Bowser, he
Really?
got snubbed. Yeah, he's bringing in Chad Johnson, Devin Hester. Oakman and Barr, pretty disappointing players, honestly. Okay production, but you'd like your 2-star pass rushers to have more than 4 total sacks. Tyrell Keys, we talked about him, 4 interceptions. He's going to be a good player because that was out of the tight ends. Calvin Pryor is another SFA player, 3 interceptions, 1 sack. Okay, kicking, Los Angeles. Yeah, he brought him over from Oklahoma. All right. NC State, the reason they're a user right now, I've talked to the mods about this, but I had to manually set Houston as the starter when Bam Knight came back. Devin Leary, though, led. It's going to be Carmelo's team now. I'm so excited for him to start playing. The Heisman winner, Jordan Houston. I do not believe NC State has any SFA players. They actually might have a defender. But these are the CPU teams, so I'm just gonna go.
They have Carmelo.
Well, yeah, we just went. Thank you, Pinhead.
Well, you said they didn't have any SFA players.
Yeah, I know. That's why I need somebody else here to point out, because looking at stats for this long will make you go crazy.
Oh, I thought you were being sarcastic when you said thank you, Pin.
No. 10 for 20, that's shit. But honestly, a good year for this team. San Diego State, let's roast them. But Garrett Grayson,
One last time, boy.
easily the greatest SFA player. He got to 102 and 2 interceptions. That last interception was a doozy. But
Oof.
a monster.
Were both of those interceptions in the last game?
Rushing, he's not going to make it. No, he had 1 interception against Syracuse.
Okay. I have a question. You think this guy makes the Hall of Fame?
Garrett Grayson, I think he maybe sneaks in a few years.
Yeah.
In a down year, right?
Yeah, he's
Taylor
gonna
Keithman.
How the fuck do you let your quarterback lead your team in rushing, man?
Well, because he's doing fuck. And then Gilliam, Brandon Cooks had a decent year. McNair just missed. He could have easily had 4 straight years, but obviously McNasty choked.
Rip Oscar Freyer, bro. Yeah. Buddy should have been redshirted.
Yeah, well. All right, so these are the men, the myth, the legends. Linebacker U.
Last look at LBU.
Getting abandoned.
They don't even get to Ed Banks ever to LBU.
He used Tamperer on Maxine Hook, who ended up no tackles for loss as a safety, no interceptions, only 3 deflections. So not really the best pickup, but it was the highest overall player in the transfer portal. Trey Flowers
also took him away from Toledo, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Props.
Trey Flowers, SFA player, 1 sack. Adrian Phillips had an interception. Kobe Cannon didn't really get on the field. Kimo Kikoa, he's not going to do much. All right.
It's Kikoa?
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's just the player I made.
Wait, no. Okay, never mind. We'll talk about this later.
All right, Tennessee. One of the best storylines of the season was these two just going back and forth. Cardell Jones' stat line's not really the best, but they're basically the same player. Like,
Well,
not like they
except
play
for
a lot different,
play.
but their production wound up being about the same, despite having like 100 less attempts for Lewis Shire. Rushing, Lewis Shire surprisingly at 60 yards. Jabari Small, 17. That's pretty good. Eddie Dove, watch out for him. He's an SFA player. He's going to be a beast.
Did Tennessee used to have a coach? Before
Yeah.
Nick?
It was like a inactive guy, I think, in like season 6. But Eddie Dove was from the yeah. Jake Fisher is an SFA player, but he didn't play well. Defensively, I think few people know who he has on this team, who's buried on the depth chart. I hope he gets freed soon. Michael Cole is an SFA player for him. He did get injured at the end of the year. No interceptions. Where is he? Like, did he even get any stats? Jadeveon Clowney, the sophomore, he only had 2 tackles. Come on, free Jadeveon. Someone steal him in the transfer portal. He'll be a junior. You'll get 2 years. Free Jadeveon. Kicking. Travis Miranda. I don't know if this was one of the SFA players. I don't think so.
No, it's not. I would know that name.
All right, our first team where I know we have nobody on it. I'm just going to scroll through quickly just in case somebody joins and decides to be Air Force. They do have 2 wide receivers coming in the next class, though. I don't see any, like, crazy
CSU
performers.
shitters.
DePore, Bean. Okay. Akron, this was an inactive user. Norlis.
No more DJ Irons.
No, not DJ. I don't see anything like insane.
Konata Mumfield, Pitt legend.
Okay. You think
Dude, he did so good the other
do
day.
you think anybody cares about Pitt? No.
I do.
Are you an anyone? Kicking.
Oh, wow.
Hunting.
Wow.
All right. So now the team who kind of chonded this year, Alabama, their worst season in the SFA for a while now. Nate Robinson got hurt. They have 3 more years of Nate Robinson at QB though, so I wouldn't be worried about this team. Just go through. No one's going to be Alabama, so I'm just going to go through this kind of quickly. I do want to check their blocking, though, because they have an SFA. They do have some SFA players coming up through the pipes, like Bob Pork. He's one pancake his freshman season.
Cool. Oh.
All right, so App State does have some SFA players, but they got redshirted this year, so that sucks. Let's just go through them, though. This is a team
I'm going to have to go in like 5 minutes.
Okay,
just as
that's
up.
fine. I can finish it out. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a long, tedious going through all these teams, but it's something we have to do. All right, App State, Arizona. They played well this year. 36-3 for Gunner Cruz. That's pretty nice. Pretty sure there's no SFA players, though, on this team.
Couple years removed from a natty for the Wildcats.
Yes, sir. Season 6. Let me get the interceptions in there.
Last year on Sim matchup. The pre-Pinhead era. Dark days.
Arkansas They do have an SFA player.
They do. There he is.
No, KJ Jefferson. Oh, yeah, you're behind me. My bad.
Oh, yeah.
AJ. They have a guy named AJ Green as a wide receiver or as a
They
running
also
back.
have a Devin Bush.
This is a team that I thought is just really good that they just continue just to be like just maybe one or two players away from being great. They're coming soon. I'm going in order now, so we're going through every roster. LaMarcus Joyner, the SFA player, 5 tackles, just trash can.
Put some respect on his name. No, put some respect on his name.
Arkansas State, this is one of our users and new users. He does have a few guys coming in. 32 and 15 for Hatcher. Decent. Running back, you have Pear. Receiving yards, this Foreman guy looked pretty good. Some on the offensive line. And then sack-wise, Motley is pretty good. Memphis snubbed. You don't have SFA guys, boy. And if we get to your team, then maybe. Okay, so Arkansas State's good. Army. So they have a
Major
few guys.
Cash?
Yeah, Major Cash time. Let's see what he did. Tyrell Robinson, 1,400 yards. He's a beast. Receiving, where is he? Major Cash, 7 catches for 1 TD. God, he's getting wasted.
Should have gone to Buffalo.
I don't think anyone is like, oh, I should have gone to Buffalo.
Yeah, not many people say that for some reason. I know Randy Watson's thinking the same thing.
Buffalo is slept on. All right, Auburn here. They have an inactive active user. Demetrius Davis is pretty good. I know I'm butchering all these names. We're going through. I do not believe they have any SFA players left over, but I could be wrong.
I don't think so.
I just stare at the names, see if I see anyone I know. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can just scroll through and find your team. Obviously. Another inactive active user. Conover had a beast year, but he is not a creative player. Rushing.
Algiers still there.
Nakua. He's a really good wide receiver. They had a lot of injuries on the offensive line for this team. Few season enders.
Did they? Damn.
They do have some SFA players, but they're just so buried on the depth charts that they don't get any stats.
They have Enzo Woods and Mola too coming in though.
Yes, they do. All
Should be
right,
big
All
for them.
State does have SFA players. I know, surprising.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's just CJ Fedorowicz. Yep, he had 4 rushes. Let's see his production. 5 touchdowns, 400 yards. Let's go. Justin Torres as well. 13 to 160. Nothing crazy, though, for him. Blocking.
Shout out to the guy that was at Pitt and then moved to Ball State and then quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think there's another guy here. Justin Gootley, that's him. 4 TFLs, nothing crazy. But these guys, like CJ Fedorowicz, who transferred from Boston College, they're just those fill-in guys. That's what makes, like, being a Hall of Famer really good. Ethan Garbers, not the one who was on UCLA. It's a copy. Just a
really
terrible...
quickly, I'm going to go right now.
Okay.
So thank you for having me. Everyone, make sure to check in on HHE coming weeks, find my recruiting rankings, and I will see you all in Season 10.
Alrighty, buddy. As one of your few active viewers, I don't quite like your tone, bub. Okay. Um, so Von Haley is a SFA player, but Boise State, massive fall from grace, unfortunately. But they keep the beautiful title of being 16-0. No one else has ever been able to come close other than Ohio State by 1 point. Also, Fink, if you're here, I wanted to ask you, what is funnier? The fact that, like, how funny it was to keep seeing Ohio State being shit every year? Or is it funnier now that they lose in the Natty twice in a row? I think the Natty might be funnier. All right, this is a big team here. Boston College, Jimmy Garoppolo in his final season. Let's check out his career numbers. This year, he actually played really well. He obviously never got to really see his full potential until his senior year, 36 and 22. Rushing wise, didn't do much. Marcus Davis turn though, he filled in a little bit, kind of the same deal as he did in his sophomore year. So Marcus Davis team now though. Rushing Garwo. Kyrie Irving only had 8 rushes. Now let's see. Wow, the leading receiver is Tajay Johnson, and David Tyree and Matt Andrews. Xavier Grimble is another SFA guy. Just kind of a disappointing season for Boston College. It's hilarious. Fuck Ohio State. Lance Tomahawk, his freshman season, 12 and 6. I like that. Hopefully he gets better. Henry Davis, 6 and 2. Now defensively, let's see here. Takeo Spikes, the true freshman, 9 tackles for loss, sack and a half, 5 deflections. This isn't enough to get on Team of the Year, but that's still pretty good for a freshman. Chichi Araguzo, the senior, 7 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Didn't really do much, unfortunately. Jalen Cheek had a decent year. Sharif Floyd, 11 tackles for loss. Just didn't have enough sacks this year. Not enough pressure. Yeah, he has not been canceled yet. Bashad Breeland, this is just sad to look at. He had the Begnarak and the Thorpe last year. He went from 100 tackles down to 15. I don't know how that happens. That is probably one of the craziest drop-offs we've seen in production, and he started. So, definitely a interesting. Let's check on Randy Orton's stats as a kicker. Pretty good. Bowling Green. This is somebody who's active, but pretty inactive. Very inactive, actually. He's going to get kicked from his job. Let me just go through all of these. For this, yeah. Let me get the interceptions at least. And kicking. California. Just not quite good enough, but obviously we saw Trevor Siemian early. He is a Team of the Year. Rushing. Maybe the biggest evidence that he was a good coach. Yeah, I could see that. Offensive line, Luke Jokel. So after this year, officially, Cal will have no more SFA players on their roster. So if they have any more success, it will not be from cause. Nate Diaz, he graduates. Another inactive user. This guy had 52 TDs and 16 interceptions. Holy hell. God damn, 52? And Hogan, Finn Hogan's another one of the dudes that just got fed the fucking rock over and over again. Sacks. And then interceptions here. I said these are all teams I know don't have players, so I'm just going through quickly. If you're watching on the VOD back, slow it down. You can go to like half speed. Like, I don't want to spend fucking time on a sorry ass program like Charlotte. Watch, if I lose to Charlotte, somebody's going to come back and snip that one. Blocking. 15 sacks given up, Jesus. A 10.5 sacks for Miguel Jackson. That's pretty good. We got Cincinnati. All right. Here is the Chad Barber hate. 2,400 yards. He did get hurt for a few weeks. Not okay. Let's see what was better. I mean, his freshman season was a lot better for sure. But he did have better targets. Rushing wise, Hudson James, SFA player. He had 35 rushes, 4 TDs. Tyler Scott did pretty well. All right. So, okay. So this is a question now. So, Andrew Whitworth, right? I have him currently at center for Team of the Year. But 20 pancakes to 5 sacks given up. Do you give Chuck Valverde the nod over him with 18 pancakes and no sacks? I think yes. What does the chat say? I don't have pinstripe here. I think Valverde is actually better. Hopefully somebody comments. But we already talked about Schooler. Sean Gatsby, 5.5, 14 TFLs, 2-1. Pretty good year for him. Who else? Nothing else crazy. Kicking. Okay. Your national champions, DJU, 45-13, 65%. He's going to be an all-time player for us. Andre Williams had a good year. He had more rushing yards than DJU. As far as receiving goes, Dakari Collins surprisingly led them in receiving, even though I think he was not really the best option. And Stellato had all of his production in the CFP. Blocking. Hold on, I want to see, did our boy get any carries? No. Stanky Leg did not get any carries. Nothing on defense for them. Bentley and Black. Black's so good, dude. He had such a good year. But yeah, they won the Natty. Congrats. And kicker-wise, they had a good kicker. 14 of 15. All right, Clemson's done. Coastal. Kevin White, he only had one pass. He should be on Fink's team, but he isn't. Grayson McCall, one of our 99 overalls. 45-6. Pretty good year for him. I expect this team to... honestly, kind of expect them to be better than they ended up being. Defense, you don't see any high numbers here, unfortunately. Kicking, Joe Young. Colorado, it was a real roof raiser. All right, Shrout ended up being the starter. Decent. They had a good year. 10 wins. I mean, you can't be mad. They do have Cale McCarr coming in. He got redshirted this year. I'm hoping this team... I eventually might want to move back to Colorado, but I don't think so. Maybe if I get to play Fink a bunch. I don't know. The Big 12's looking pretty attractive at this point. All right. Colorado State, who the fuck cares? Dude, only 9 passing TDs for this team in general. Come on, dude. What a shit team. Remember, just go through the video at like half speed if you get it to your team. Okay, so you're wanting B12 offers. Luka Diamond, this is a guy, watch out. So we have a new Duke user. So, Luka Diamond, he is a good player typically. You got Clay Brown, who is a freshman who led you in rushing, so that is definitely intriguing there. This is a young team. I'm actually seeing some potential from Duke. A lot of seniors here on the defense, though. Eastern Michigan, they were ranked at one point. 20-13. Boone, 1200. Some might call it the new Mac. Alright, a 6 tackle, that guy's pretty good. We have a Justin Jefferson. FIU, they made the playoff in Season 6. Pretty good team. We're slowly making our way. I normally go through this a lot more in the preseason, like talk about it a lot more, but we already know these teams are shit, so. Florida, a real disappointing team. He is a sophomore, though, so a lot of room to improve. Honestly, Florida's fallen off from the early season domination. They almost were back-to-back in seasons 1 and 2. Fink and I are the only ones who really remember a good Florida. Well, this is what you're working with, Dogwater. If you get offered the Florida job, you very well might. They were dreadful this season. And you get that quarterback for 3 seasons, so that's actually a decent opportunity. FIU, a monster year for Michael Johnson. This team just was one of those teams like comes out of nowhere and is really good. 2 guys with over 10 touchdowns. We saw him just come up short, though, against Mariota. 9.5 from Joyner. He would have had more if he didn't get injured. He was the 2nd highest rated right end in the country. All right. Florida State. All right, here we go. Here's a big one. Braxton Miller, 27-10. Not really that great. Rushing, it was kind of a revolving door for you with all the injuries. Jake Johnson, super disappointing, only 7 touchdowns. Yeah, go ahead, drop your, I'm about to get to Kansas, but yeah. Receiving, nothing crazy. Kerry Nichols is an SFA player, 1 catch, 34 yards. That's kind of the archetype he was designed with, so that's cool. Okay, Dogwater. It's always about the system. A lot of SFA players on this team, but they're just... Here's the problem with people who want to go to these big programs. It's really hard. Like, Adonis, he's been in this program now for 3 seasons. He's a good player, 83 overall, but he doesn't play. Because you're at these big programs that have inflated overalls, and they're still bad. And it's hard for you to actually make an impact. So that's one thing I don't like about going to big programs. Fresno State. That's why, me personally, you'll never catch me at one of the teams with a high overall. If I end up ever going back to P5, it's going to be a rebuild where I can make an immediate impact. Yeah, like Memphis, you can make an immediate impact, but the way you recruited this season kind of ruins it for you. Like, you're going to have to suffer. And then even when you get your freshman, you might have to suffer a little more. So may not be the best. But Fresno State is a good option, 10-win team. Georgia, the Chonders. God, Vandegrift, he's probably going to win the in-game Heisman eventually. We got 2 more seasons of him. He was really good, but really bad in that game in the Orange Bowl. And so, nothing crazy here. Freshman All-American, though, Jackson Wild at the left guard. 6 pancakes for the young lad. Defensively, Stackhouse went off. This team, Georgia might be the most chonding team that's made the playoff the most. They make it all the time, but they never made it past the semis. Oh, yeah, just use the budget. Yeah. All right, Georgia Southern, you're up. Jeff Driscoll did get hurt, unfortunately. He was doing pretty well. He had a lot better sophomore campaign. Hopefully his senior year is better for you. Receiving. Joseph Lewis is an SFA player. 300 yards. Offensive line. Scove was your main player. Anthony Johnson is a player for you as well. Rest in peace, IRL Anthony Johnson, I believe. Anthony Rumble Johnson, I think that's what they call him. 10-4. How many picks? Nothing for Brooks Klink. Timmy Jernigan. This is definitely DTU. Josh Gumbo. Expect him to start playing a bigger role in the future. And that's your kicker. Georgia State, recipient of the worst team in the nation. These guys are trash. How do you lose to Western Michigan, you chodes? Boo. Boo. Guys are shit. These guys are shit. If somebody wants to take them over. Hawaii, they used to be good, now they are not. 17-12. Jordan Johnson, decent. Coker. Sacks, nothing crazy. Defensively, Bartholomew. This Washington guy had 7 picks, nice. He was in the leaders all year. If you're going to do that where you use the budget and leave, you got to get a QB running back combo probably. All right, Houston, you're up. Unfortunately, Kopp got hurt and you had to have Cantrell Legia. He did okay. But yeah, you had your... But he's going to get... You're going to have like a 90 overall QB next year. So look for Houston to be back being competitive next season. The question is, do you have Nathaniel Dell? No, he's going to be gone. He also got hurt. So, an unfortunate start, but Skyflyer has a lot of good players coming in. Yeah, you got to get the impact players. Maybe a linebacker or like a pass rusher as well. But I think you're going to find production from any of those guys. But yeah, so this is Houston. Pretty good. Illinois, Daryl Jackson. They surprisingly did well with Sikowski, but it is the Daryl Jackson show from now on. Rushing, we're going to get to see Doug Chonkla. So watch out, everybody, because the Doug Chonkla and what's his name, Allstott, are going to be released. They're going to be going crazy. Expect Illinois to be good for the next couple of years. At least the next few. Defensively, Marquise Thompson is an SFA player. Nothing crazy for him. Horry was a lot better, but he's getting beaten out by Okiki. They have I guess he got redshirted, but Vince Wilfork will be coming in. Indiana, this is another active user who's getting yeeted 7-6 from your quarterback. That's just so bad. Some of these Power 5 teams are just so goddamn awful. If somebody wants to take them over, good luck. Sacks giving up a bunch. No SFA players here, just a bunch of... They also had a couple of hard injuries. Iowa, Cody Green. Let me sort this by yards. 16-3 for Cody Green. Obviously, Iowa is not the best offensively. We saw that this year. They kind of mimic real life. They got blown out by Chad Barber. They do have a really good freshman wide receiver coming in, though. Sack-wise, DeAndre Craig went off. I believe they have an offensive lineman, though, so I'm going to go back to the offensive line, see who it is. I think he got redshirted, though. Who is it? Yeah, Jason Foreman got redshirted. But yeah, Kansas, here we go. This is what you're coming into. So the starter, Conrad Hawley, he got hurt. He's a 72 overall. So Fink may be struggling at quarterback here. Now, I don't know if they recruited somebody potentially better, but I think you're hoping for some good progression here. But Conrad Hawley, let me just show you his skills. Throw power, throw accuracy is not that bad. Ben Easters, 77-70, so just tough all around, honestly. Rushing, you're going to have Daniel Hishaw another year, or at least you should. Devin Neal as well, so that's good. So you might want to be a rushing team next year. Now remember, you have JJ Justice coming in, who also plays receiver. You're losing Grimm. Your tight end Huggins might be coming back. John Bullen's then your next receiver. So I think, unless there's some crazy progression, JJ Justice is going to be at least wide receiver 3 for you. So that's interesting. Blocking-wise, you have a junior. Okay, so all juniors, a freshman center, one senior that's leaving. This guy's a sophomore, DeKendrick Stearns. That's interesting. Okay, offensive line's pretty good. So rushing the ball is probably going to be in your ballpark. Leading tackler is Brown, 9 TFLs. I'm not seeing a lot of sack production here. This guy's a junior. David McCormick, here he is, your 6'10 freshman. He only had 44 tackles this year, 3 TFLs, 1 sack, 5 deflections. He's your guy to build around. You have him for 3 more years. 6'10 linebacker. So, a lot of redshirt juniors. So, not a lot of young guys here, but you are probably going to get a lot of... So, I think next year could be pretty good. You might be able to go for bowl eligibility, especially with JJ Justice playing. So, I'm excited. I think this is not that bad of a team. I think your biggest problem is quarterback. So, next year's budget probably goes to QB. Alright. Kansas State, obviously they made the playoff. Jaron Lewis had the game of his life. Gonna miss Deuce Vaughn. He's been a baller. I suspect that Kansas State finally falls off. We've been expecting them, like, they had a good year, season 7. We're like, alright, they're not going to be good again. Then they still did it, and then they still did it. I mean, look at the sack production from these ends. That's crazy. 16 sacks. Yeah. Wide receiver 2 at the minimum. So, great year for Kansas State. Might be the last we see from them for a long time. Kent State, doubt anyone wants to go to the MAC anymore. Rest in peace. Everyone went to the MAC, then they realized how awful it is, like, to be there, and then they, you know, dipped. They have Mikkel, so they have a few guys who make some plays. Can't hate that too much. Yeah, slot is wide receiver 3. Kentucky, I know they do have a few SFA players, so I'm going to go through this a little slower. I don't know if they play at all. This is one guy who was inactive. Eight sacks here from Isaiah Gibson. That's nice. I don't believe I see anybody who jumps off the page for me. Yeah, I think playbooks, but I think you're going to need to run something that gets it out of your QB's hands, like, because I just don't like having a sim with a 70 overall quarterback. All right, what's wrong with LSU here? Max Johnson, 30-6, yet they still went fucking 6-6. What idiots. Just, I don't know what's wrong with this team. They just always seem to go 6-6. They're the laughing stock of the SFA powerhouses. Ohio State's past them. Sorry. As far as defensively, unfortunately, like you got Mumu Bin Wadden, right? He had a 1 sack, an interception in his freshman year. Nice. Bones Highland as well. These got really good SFA players that are just buried on the depth chart. Shame, shame, shame. Louisiana Tech. This is one I'm excited to check because they popped off. They got 10 wins this year. Snowpiercer, he's inactive. He's going to lose his job this year, unfortunately. But Zach Howard, SFA player, 500 yards, 8 touchdowns. Not too bad. Blocking-wise, I'm not sure if one of these guys, I don't think so. But obviously, SFA player of the season, James Kiffin. He's on the team of the year. Man, we're almost at 2 hours. Sheesh. And we're only on Louisiana Tech. This shit always goes so long. Louisville now. So this is a team I can see that might give out some offers because they're still struggling. They are in the ACC, which a lot of people want to go to. Lots of sophomores, a lot of seniors. I'm seeing a lot of seniors on the line. 8.5 sacks from this junior. That's interesting. Okay. This may not be the worst roster to take over. Marshall. All right, let's check Fink. Let's see your old players. Grant Wells. We didn't get to see Cato at all, unfortunately. Will Ty, he had 2 rushes. Ruben Randall and Will Ty. So 600 yards for Ty. That's not going to get him on SFA Team of the Year. Ruben Randall, 900 yards, 6 TDs. Great for him. Offensive line, no one. Now, defensive line, I do want to see how Thuney played. So, obviously, Jake Ryan made it. Thuney. Joe Thuney. He got 3.5, 14. I think this all kind of came in one day. 2 forced fumbles. No defensive TD, but he did get a, that was a big one for him. Shutang Mungwa. I remember him being one of my favorites. He actually can play a little quarterback, but he got a interception. He was one of my, that's when we did the combine stuff, and he was a beast on the combine. He's like that athletic freak. Let's see, Maryland now, Connor Shaw, he leaves us. Not a good year for him. He got buried on the depth chart, unfortunately. But no interceptions in the last 2 seasons. Connor Shaw, RIP. Philip Dorsett, he'll come back hopefully for another year. Same with Penny Boone. You love to see them. Receiving, Jarrett and Richard McKinney. Okay, so this is another tight end you got to think about. But 600 yards, not enough TDs. Philip Dorsett. Maybe he'll come back. Mostert might come back. So I think last year's going to be the last year, really, for some big... but the OGs, the last of, like, the Dre Kirkpatrick era, John Bostic and Jeremiah Tachi are gone. What a year for Jeremiah. Holden Shaw, though, watch out for him. He's had a beast couple of years. He's an SFA guy. Very underrated. Goodbye, Chris Davenport, 13 2.5. It's a shame how we lose some of these guys, honestly. But, you know, it's part of how it goes. How did Brad Wing do? 10 of 12. Nice, nice. All right, we're starting to make a little progress here. Memphis, here we go. Seth Hennigod, 43 and 4. 2 came in that championship, or not the championship game. Case McCoy may be back next year. Okay, so if Seth Henney, okay, Memphis, Dogwater. This is what I want to see happen. I want Seth to go to the NFL. And then I want Case McCoy to be your starter. How awesome would that be to see Case McCoy, who was by far the biggest bust, like he was like a 56 overall, end up starting his senior year? Please. That's what I want to see. Le'Veon Bell, 5 TDs. Nothing too crazy. Brandon Thomas, obviously, is a beast. This is the dream season. They unfortunately just could not hang with It was really just the defense just couldn't haul in those picks. Like they normally... Sledge. Okay, here's the bullshit part. Robert Sledge is a monster. Two receptions in his career. A total of 5 yards and 2 receiving TDs. One of them on Darrent Williams. Made him look like a loser. My God, Robert Sledge, you're a beast. Blocking. All right, let's check it out. Obviously, Devontae Goldson Nelson was an absolute beast for you. All right, let's check the stats here. 63 tackles, only 1 for a loss, no sacks, 2 picks, 9 deflections. He had a forced fumble and a defensive touchdown. Okay, not Team of the Year worthy, unfortunately, but you know he needed to catch those fucking picks in the CFP, and he didn't. Matt Elam, the other SFA player on the team, he had 2 picks in his career. Honestly, dream year for Memphis. It probably doesn't get any better than that for you. He filled in nicely, honestly. These guys are going to disappear and turn into your kicker and punter, so they don't really matter. Miami, they choked, and then they just didn't show up against Arizona. Van Dyke, Jalen Knighton may be gone. Jerick McKinnon will be playing next year, hopefully, as the starter. Melvin Gordon's coming up. Restrepo was good. Oh, we got to see how God's Power Offer played. He's one that we got to see. Allen Robinson on the offensive line, nothing crazy. This team, maybe Memphis has an outside shot of getting an offer from. I doubt it, though. Telvin Smith, our Team of the Year. God's Power Offer, yeah, he's, at 16 tackles for loss, not enough sacks. He got double teamed every time he was out there, so he won't be. Michael Brockers, his senior year, he put up decent stat line. And then Borales, he did pretty well. A lot of misses, though. And Miami, they're probably going to start falling off. They had a disappointing end, even though they did end up winning that bowl game, the New Orleans Bowl. 34-7. Brett Gabbert, they're going to miss him out there in the MAC. Yeah, I think this team's core that's been dominating is going to be gone. This is one of those CPU teams that's just been crazy good for no reason. Lonnie Phelps, decent. He was hurt, though. Hummel came in, 70 overall, 7.5 sacks. That's pretty good. Start McCoy. Start McCoy. Michigan, we're going to miss you. Devin Gardner, the senior. He kind of was the same player every single year. Not amazing, not bad, just meh, right? Rushing, though, Donovan Edwards. Obviously, Blake Corum had the season ender. Receiving, nothing crazy. Blocking, nothing crazy. All right, Tony Jefferson, how did he play in his final season? 8 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, no picks. He's not getting a Team of the Year nod. That's a Dame mess up. All right, Michigan State. Okay, so this is McNasty's new team. He has Hamp Fay to build around. 82 overall. He's going to have him for 2 years. 20-9, not that bad. Rushing wise, he had a senior, and this is a true freshman. It looks like the starting running back will be Binks McBurnfinger, which is awesome. Wide receivers, this is what it looks like. Offensive line, and obviously he's bringing in the Rock to the defense. But this is what else? Some decent. There's a lot of juniors and a lot of freshmen here. Some seniors, obviously. Kicker. Mid-Tennessee State. They are getting, he's going to start as a freshman. What is his name? Philip Masters. So expect Mid-Tennessee State to start simming a lot better. They're in my division, unfortunately. So there might be a team I end up having to worry about. They might be a destination for a coach who's might want a guy to build around early. Like they're entering their window where they could potentially push for a AAC title. Mississippi State, this is a team that probably will be giving out offers to some user coaches who are interested in the SEC. Defensively, it's an SEC team, you know, who really knows how good they actually are. Missouri, they suffered the Hail Mary loss, but they ended up coming back and getting bowl eligible. Props to these guys. I know that we didn't give them a bowl bid. They probably should have, but I just couldn't find a way to get them in realistically. Like, I was really only considering them over Alabama, but couldn't leave. Yeah, you know, it's an improvement. You didn't finish 6-6, you know, so they're happy. Navy, Wings, I don't know what happened to him, honestly. He's gone AFK. But Chris Cooley is his SFA player. He had 14 catches, 200 yards, pretty decent. I'm kind of happy with that, considering... Like, I don't know what's with our tight ends going to these option teams. Now, he did have Ty Terry as a freshman. Only got a half sack at an 80 overall. That's honestly a terrible year. Tough Ty Terry, a 4-star. Yeah, SMU, but the reason I snubbed him is because they lost 5 of their last 6 games. Or something like that. You know what I mean? Nebraska... We do have a new Nebraska user coming in. Johnny Manziel, you might get him for another year. Paul Sanford is an SFA player, so you are going to have him for sure. I'm hoping Johnny can actually sim a little better. At rushing, you also have Giovanni Bernard next year as well. So this is a team that, you know, I always thought could be better, but they just aren't. You have Robert Woods, the SFA player. You got Brashad Perryman coming back. It's just there's no production from this team, which is a little wild, honestly. Ethan Piper, and then defensively, this team 8.5 sacks for Ken Foster. Let's take a look at the man, Aaron Donald. 3.5, 14 tackles for loss. Just nothing really. Marcus Peters, how did he do? No. Only 2 picks. That's unfortunate. This is the rest of it. You know, this is a team that should be good, but they just aren't. Nevada, I don't know if he's gone or here or what, but this is his team. He doesn't have any current SFA players, but he has some that will be coming in. My voice is starting to hurt. Trying to get through this. I want to give you guys the content. Okay, New Mexico. This is a fun one. So the dude leaves, and his team ends up winning the division. Ryan Lee, freshman year, 14-12. I think that's all you can ask for. Like, that's a great year, getting his team to the championship. They did lose their bowl game, though. Jackson Smith and Jigba. This is like his IRL production right now this year. He just didn't do all that well. Only 600 yards, 3 TDs, nothing crazy. He has come back for senior year. You'd hope he gets a little more help. Now at defense, we already went over it a little bit, but Ephesians Prysock, he had 4 interceptions. I believe he had 3 in one game. That's pretty good for the freshman. That's an interesting team. North Carolina, this could also be a team that underperformed, may be giving out some offers. They might be a little too high of an overall, though. They did underperform this year. They went 6-6. Storm Duck, one of the best names you'll ever see. That's an IRL person. North Texas, this is a team that could see a user in the future. They're often a popular pick. AI was the coach here for like at least a week. Northern Illinois, let's see what they did. A lot of teams just did not have a great passing years, which is kind of weird. They're just like heavy rushing teams. 38-2, that's pretty good. Northwestern. Sullivan got hurt for much of the year. He ended up only playing 13 snaps. That's tough. Yeah. Kirk's, most of that came in one game. Northwestern's a team that I think somebody could end up taking over eventually. You know, this is a roster, you're in the weak division that you could potentially do something with. Notre Dame, let's take a look. Buckner, 25-10. Chris Tyree, not an SFA player, but he had a great year. The SFA players are here. I'm going to miss Kenneth Bibbins. Okay, so I got to decide, is Kenneth Bibbins better than Stephen Moore? 6 TDs, 600 yards. Let's take a look. 600 yards, rushing. He didn't rush. Blocking, though, not as good as last year. 6. Let's see. So we're on Notre Dame. Let me go all the way back up to Iowa State. Stephen Moore at 8. Yeah, no, can't. It's going to be Stephen Moore still. Let me go back to Notre Dame here. James Ray, or Jarvis Landry, decent year. Alan Hearns, though, his best receiver. He's not going to get an SFA Player of the Year, but maybe next year. Blocking, no, it's only one guy. All right, so Sinceri could be a dark horse here. 8-2-2. Yeah, I just don't see enough from him to get on, unfortunately. Team of the Year. Christian Kirksey, he might come back for another year. William Golston will be gone. Shout out to South Bend Today articles I used to release on this team when these guys were rookies. Thomas Davis, He was a freshman All-American last year, but fortunately injuries derailed his season. He had a partially torn ACL. Ohio, 18-6. Nothing too good here. Ohio State, LMAO, fuck these guys. 34-13 for Kyle McCord. Just couldn't put it together. Travion Henderson, obviously, monster year. Rushing TD for Tyron Jefferson. Eka Mbuga, great playoff. Fortunate that they couldn't. They did about it, like they did the best possibly that you could and not win a championship. 15-0 and then lose by 1. Just such an L. It's so funny that it happened. Steel Chambers absolutely popped off. Cody Simon, great team. This is just a great team. They probably should have won. Kind of got screwed by the game. Trey Burton is going to leave. Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler, he led this team to a win over Alabama, and then he got hurt. This guy's going to be good. Jerome Jones. Kenny Stills, obviously we have him as wide receiver 4 currently. Look for Oklahoma to rebound. Also, Fink, if you are still here, I just finished the sheets before this for like all the records, and Georgia actually has overtaken Oregon for second most all-time wins. So now it's just Oklahoma and Oregon at the top. Vanderkamp, he will be missed. Oklahoma State, this was, for a while, we thought this might be McNasty's destination. They do have some SFA players here, so we need to take a look. Tyler Lockett, only 1 rush. Receiving-wise, though, Sammy Coates and Tyler Lockett just didn't do much. Tyler Lockett did have 3 TDs. Blocking-wise, I don't think they have anybody. Defensively. Jaden Jernigan, he's not one. Danny Shelton, he had 9 and 3.5. Perryman, not really all that much. Kind of disappointing for those guys. Old Dominion, obviously, we got to take a look. Mariota, we already talked about. Davis. Got Ali Jang, DeAnthony Thomas. He did not get Team of the Year wide receiver. Just barely got missed out. Michael Thomas had a good year. John Doe, SFA player. And then we're going to see how Tyrann Mathieu did. Tyrann Mathieu, only 3 picks this season, so just not... He had more tackles this year, honestly. Fumble forced, but definitely fell off from last year. He's not getting Team of the Year. And that's kind of how this team went. A.J. Moore, 17-22. He had some big field goals, especially the game winner in overtime. Ole Miss now. Okay, so here we go. Ryan Fitzpatrick, freshman season, 30-2. Decent year, obviously, especially for a freshman only throwing 2 picks. Rushing, rest in peace, Charkandrick West. He got hurt. Boozler not getting Team of the Year. Pretty much the exact same player as Heimlich this year. Charkandrick West, obviously. Derek Watt ended up not getting any touchdowns, but actually having some sort of production. That's nice to see. Blocking-wise, I took his guard that he recruited. Sacks, you got Demon Clowney. Byron Jones was his best SFA player. Just honestly, 16, 3.5. Chris Jones, that's all right. Larod Hopgood, 1 sack, 2 picks. You'd like him to be better, But, you know, he was only a sophomore. He could get better. Ha-Ha Clinton-Dix, kind of the same deal. Terrell Devers, one of my favorite guys. Booker Atwood had 2 tackles for loss. Look for a lot more SFA players in the future from him. Oregon. They had Thompson and Butterfield. DeAndre Hopkins, unfortunately, is leaving. He just missed Team of the Year as well. Rushing, alright, defensively, they had Christian Comet. Season-ending injury for the freshman. He was popping off, though. And kicking-wise, okay, Oregon State, 1-11. Got rejected by Fink, rightfully so. This actually has a worse quarterback situation than Kansas does. They do have some okay receivers, though. How are you a Power 5 team and you have a 70 overall quarterback? That just shows how shit you're recruiting. I will say this team has a ton of production in the sack department, but that really doesn't matter. Penn State. All right, so Coach Dave, let's see how he did. Obviously, he kind of got shit on. His starter was hurt, and then Christian Belilex got hurt. Then he had to start Tyquan Roberson for a while, and then he had to go to Daniel Williams for a while as well. All 3 played. Really, though, he got 23 and 9 out of his quarterbacks. That's actually pretty good. It's when you have to be like game managers. Rushing, pretty good. He does have that quarterback coming in, though. Nothing crazy here. Offensive line. And then defensively, 6.5 sacks from the sophomore. This guy's going to be a beast. Joe Payne was a top guy last season that we kind of followed a bit. Demarius Triplett, SFA player, 5 TFLs, 1.5 sacks, only 1 interception. Nothing else too crazy for you. Kicking wise, 18 of 28. You'd like to have a little bit better success. Obviously, McAfee's Team of the Year guy. Pittsburgh, this has a bunch of SFA players. So, eager to see how... Okay, Ty Montgomery, 1,000-yard, nice. Only 5 touchdowns. Juwan Thompson, the senior. So, I expect Ty Montgomery to end up being very good. Hireman, Team of the Year guy. Gene Dangus, the #1 recruit for the in-game recruits this season. Only 500 yards, only 5 TDs. Kind of an L. Mike Evans, he's had a really disappointing start to his career. On defense, Bud Dupree, 9. He got an interception. I like the way Bud Dupree's playing. Eric Reed, the SFA player, 7, 1.5. Nothing crazy on the interceptions. Lacoby Dean, also an SFA player, 10 TFLs as a freshman at middle linebacker. Honestly, not too bad. He kind of got snubbed, I would think, for freshman linebacker from Marcus Black on Clemson. Lewis Nix, no sacks for the DT. Tennille Tuopu, he did pretty decent. See, like I said, a lot of SFA players on this team, but fortunately, nothing crazy. Purdue, there's only 1 SFA player on this team. Just going to go through it quickly because the guy says he's going to be active and then he isn't. So, Philip Stewart, 11-264. Nothing crazy for him. No TDs. Nothing great here. I see some decent production from Anderson and Grant. Other than that, nothing crazy. And you're a kicker, 21-26. Rice. Everyone thought Rice was pretty good with Luke McCaffrey. I don't know why he's a quarterback in this game. In real life, they have him at wide receiver. No SFA players. This is a team I feel like some people might want to take over, so I'm going to go through everyone. 7 sacks for this junior, Adrian Brickman. That's nice. Rutgers, the AAC team. They just have not been that great. They have an 87 overall guy. You'd think they'd be a little bit better. I guess just no rushing game. Nothing here either. Just going through them quickly. We're up over 2 hours here. Probably going to end up being 3-hour stream. SMU. Stone. This team fell off a cliff at the end of the season, I'm not going to lie. But that was one hell of a game with Memphis. Paul and Aho. Aho knows. Okay, AC Leonard is an SFA player. Linebacker. 13 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. No interceptions, unfortunately. 2 forced fumbles, no defense TDs. So, not going to make the list, but I really like him. Nothing else crazy, though. No, I'm not currently in BC. I'm in, okay, so San Diego State, or San Jose State, I mean. Nothing great here. I don't think there's any reason anybody would ever want to take this team over. Like, I've just never had an interest in this color scheme, or like just anything about this team attracts me at all. These Nuts, though, is an SFA player, 14 of 25. He did have a long of 51. Not that bad. Missed 2 extra points. Rough for These Nuts to start his career. South Alabama. They won a bowl game. They won their division. Schroeder. Decent team. Decent team. Definitely underrated. But also, they went 8-6, so they do have some decent players here. 5 sacks, you know, it's just a decent team. Probably played a little bit above what they should have, but now South Carolina, talk about falling off a cliff. Luke Doty was in the Heisman combo, and then he just died. 700 yards, 7 TDs. Really like this team. And it was unfortunate that they just couldn't put it all together. But they ended up destroying Boston College in the bowl game anyways, so we'll take it. 11.5 for Jordan Birch. Southern Miss now. Let's talk to, let's go through the stats. I've already sent all of this over to B-Dog, but got Lang, Frank Gore, 900 yards. On offense, this is kind of how it looks. So it looks like they redshirted Ray Rice for you, because he did not play. Now on defense here, I'm expecting you guys to be a lot better next year for sure. Definitely a lot of hype surrounding this program. Stanford. Some SFA players are leaving. Sean Mannion, unfortunately, just got buried by Tanner McKee. Alfred Blue finally had a good year. No, San Diego State. Actually, yeah, San Diego State was at the beginning. So, probably at around the hour mark. Trey Mason actually got some action. Anunua. Because you're I control you, you were at the top. So you're what after we go through like all the team of the year stuff. You're at the beginning. Yeah, catch the VOD. Alright, Fork. He's made the team of the year. He's in. Kwiatkowski, 5. No interceptions or anything. He has a long way to go, though. I'm excited for his career. He had a good year. Anything? Kyle Powers, SFA guy. Nothing crazy. I probably have said nothing crazy at least 100 times this stream. Kicker. Syracuse time. All right. How'd Syracuse do? DeAndre Wilkinson, SFA guy, 20-14. Not as good of a year as you'd like from him, especially with his wide receiver core he does have. Silas Red and Dexter McCluster did get hurt, so that's unfortunate. J.J. Nelson carried the load actually for a few weeks, and he did really well. Nothing SFA Team of the Year caliber, though. Receiving-wise, Corey Burke, SFA guy, 724. Gadsden was all right. Meng. Yeah, this team, they were overperforming, and then they just started underperforming. Obviously, Sinclair's Team of the Year. Defensively, lots of SFA players here. Nuosu, who is Team of the Year. Number 2 linebacker. Kevin Williams got snubbed. Darrell Revis, 2 picks. Obviously, we all know he got burned by Mark Andrews in that BC game a couple years ago. David Young, 6.5 sacks, 21 tackles for loss. He wasn't getting considered for the Team of the Year. Oh, hi. Welcome in. This is an online dynasty we run through Discord, and we just had National Championship earlier today, so I'm doing the end of season stat stream where I go through every single team's stats, basically, for whatever people want. If you want to check out the YouTube channel, it's linked. It is linked on my channel, on like the Twitch channel. I would encourage you to check it out. I have like highlight videos for all the games. So we just had National Championship, and then I'm going to post the highlights probably today or tomorrow. But yeah, I'm just going through all the stats. So Benet Benwickery, Garrett Williams. So nothing great. Stephon Tuitt, no. Half a sack. Dewey Deeks played a little bit. He's redshirted, though, so I don't know how he has stats. This game's wild sometime. Wayne Rooney, Team of the Year guy, 90%. TCU, they fell off. They were ranked, and then they just... Anthony Black, the SFA player, only 4... Nothing for... I know there's a few guys on this team, but just nothing that stands out. We got... Yeah, this is Dirty Bird's old team. He just kind of abandoned them and they fell off. Temple, they had a good year. 21-10 for Justin Lynch. Sadie had a great bowl game, even though they lost, I believe. That division, the opposite division of mine, is kind of the Wild West. You have Cincy, you have Temple, you have Army, and Rutgers, who all are decent, so... Oh, well, I have to do it before I go live, so I can't edit that. I'd have to go unlive and then relive, and I'm not going to do that. And we're kind of done picking the Team of the Year. Anyways, it's just going through the stats. But Paul Richardson, he's not making it. Receiving. Yeah, Paul Richardson. Xavier Worthy, not as good as real life. Blocking, nothing great. Defensively, they do have a few guys here. Bradley Roby, how did he do? 5 tackles for loss, only 1 interception. Obviously, Myron Gibbs, true freshman, got hurt on his first play of his career. Texas A&M, this is a team that may be offering some people. Calzada, 21-4, yet they just barely missed out on winning the division. Granted, they went, 7-5, so can't really get mad that they didn't win the division. Kicking, King Davis. Texas State, this team does have SFA player Jose Saunders, who will be taking over finally. Rushing. Blocking. So you got Revels, And on the preseason stream, I will go through this. If my refrigerator is running, no, it is not. All right, Texas Tech, we got a new user coming in. So this is what your team was looking like. They do have a national championship here in the SFA. So these are what you have to build around. There is quite a few seniors, though, at some critical spots for you. So this may be kind of a raw team going into next season. Unfortunately. Kicking. So that's what your team's going to look like. Toledo. Rest in peace, Giraffe. I will say, Brent Huntley is the career leader in interceptions in SFA history. He has 49. Out of every quarterback in the last 3 years, he has the most picks. That's funny. Marquise Lee's making Team of the Year at number 3. Odell Beckham, we'll see how he played here. 800 yards, 5. You know, kind of a similar year to like a Heisenberg. Simi Kazi, he was a top 10 prospect. Obviously, this offense doesn't really focus on the pass game, but he played really well, I feel like, considering his role. Jet Riker, the travesty of you guys, Season 7, putting him as an O-lineman instead of a wide receiver. Ridiculous. On defense, you got Kyle Fuller, who we kind of considered, but he got snubbed. Let's see who else. Jaquavion Tavius, 3 interceptions, just not enough production there from him. He had Harrington, nothing really, 14 tackles, so yeah. Troy. This is stated, don't want this food to spoil. Gunnar Watson. This is a team that played really well. Kind of didn't really get a ton of respect in the polls. They just lost to the wrong teams, unfortunately. They were ranked a little bit here and there. This is a team I could see somebody taking over, though. They've been successful in SFA's history. Tulane, another great team that just chaunded their last few weeks. Pratt was a Heisman finalist. Booker is a beast. Sledge is actually the brother of your other guy. That's the lore I was painting. Trey Tuggle, that's a great name. Defensively, we need to see all of this for new users. Tulsa, they used to be good. They've completely fallen off. This team is just so bad. Like, look at this. Nothing in the 80s. Maybe one player in the 80s, but he was hurt all year. 7.5 from this guy, though. That's pretty good. UAB. We have some SFA players here to go over. Connor Cook, how did he do? 17-9. You know, game manager, right? Nothing crazy. Running backs. Ooh, Eddie Lacy. Okay. He's not better than Finley, but that's one hell of a year. I'm glad he finally got some production. He was stuck at Texas A&M, then he had to transfer. He's in the same boat as some of the other guys. 6-year senior type guy. James Power, only 1 reception. That sucks. Blocking. James Power, 14-1. That's pretty beastly, but not good enough for Team of the Year. Defensively, we talked about Dominique Eagley, one of the best players in SFA history. I suspect he will end up making the SFA Hall of Fame for this 2014 year he had when they made the playoff. 18.5 total sacks in his career. Damian Miller, here he is, DeMarcus Milliner, another SFA guy. He had 4 interceptions this season. That's pretty good. David Amerson as well. Some really good players. I loved that season when they were good. That was really fun to watch. UCF, I picked them to win the division. They sucked ass this year, mainly because of fucking 22 interceptions. What the hell is that? Wide receiver, like, they have a good team. It just wasn't their year to do well. They don't have SFA players, but still. Not a ton of production outside this guy. Just going through these last teams. UCLA, another team. Started out good. I think they're 5-0 and they fell off a cliff. This used to be AI's team as well. Most of his players transferred away, though. Actually, all of them did, I believe. I don't think there's any SFA players left here. 7 for 16's terrible. ULM, Sweets, 13 and 17. That's just horrendous. Another team that's just down bad. There's a free win every week for whoever wants it. 7.5 though for Nettles. That's interesting. Other than that, nothing good on this team. 11 for 16. UNLV, 10-win season. They did beat Oklahoma. Broomfield, I gotta say, probably one of the best quarterbacks we've seen. He only played 2 years. He might come back next year though, and then he'll probably own a lot of records. But 40-2 and 44-6. This guy is a monster. Like, it's not a fluke this team was good or won the bowl game over Oklahoma, honestly. Like, that's how good that QB is. I know a lot of, like, CPU guys don't get a lot of credit in the SFA, and also, like, 9 sacks from this guy. Like, this team played really well. They deserved it. 10-win year. You know, somebody was going to take out McNasty. This is the kind of a team to do it, honestly. Passing, Jackson Dart was not their quarterbacks. Miller Moss, 22 and 10. Rushing, just nothing much for USC. They've kind of fallen off in our save. They do have a few SFA players on the defensive side of the ball that I'm interested in seeing. Eric Kendricks is one of them. So Eric Kendricks, 12 T, pretty decent, but nothing, nothing that's worth team of the year. And then I believe we might have one more. Yep, Brock Vereen. 1 interception for him. So, and then they did have the kick. This is the kicker that won the thing. USF, a really good year. Lost in OT, unfortunately. 46-6, really good battle. They did not rush the ball even a little bit. Obviously, this guy is a monster. Yusef Terry is going to own a lot of records. I don't think we're ever going to see 2,200 yards from a receiver again. They had 2 guys over 1,000 yards. Like, what? 3,000 yards between 2 players? Crazy. Crazy for USF. This guy, 21 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks. That's a great year. This team was stacked. They almost knocked off Colorado. UTEP, they have the most conference championships appearances without a win, ironically. I think it's 3 or 4. No SFA players or anything. This is honestly a team that I would maybe have interest in going to at some point. But I would never consider going to the Mountain West until they're actually taken seriously. UTEP sent a lot of coaches offers last year as well after they had a good season, but nobody was interested. This is Take Note's team. He left FAU for this dumpster fire. They did eke out a few wins, though, at the end of the season. He was in the winless column, though. Then he left, and now he's back. I don't know what his deal is. Defensively, 5.5 sacks. That's decent. I don't see anything good here, though. No SFA players, just... And then Utah, the defending national champions, coming into the year. Jaquindon Jackson did get hurt, which is super unfortunate, so they did have to start Cassetti. I mean, when he played 16-3, that's what you want. Rushing, Micah Bernard got to 1,000 yards. He also missed a few weeks. He was the cover athlete for this year. Donnell Kirkwood, we're going to miss him. He got the Jet Award. And then receiving-wise, Tank Sessions had a good year. Come on, did he get a bunch of pancakes? 11 pancakes, no sacks given up. Okay, so no, he's not getting any Team of the Year consideration this year, unfortunately. He missed a lot of time as well. Defensively for this team, 6.5. They lost a lot of good guys. This is the arm sleeve man. 10 tackle, like, just not a good year. They laid it all out on the line last year, and they were successful. You can't ask for anything better. Utah State, shitter team. Just nothing going here. That's even worth mentioning, honestly. 1,000-yard receiver, pretty good. 100-yard tackler, 4.5. So, a lot of production, sack-wise. I see a lot of these bad teams get a lot of production out of sacks. I'm not sure why that is. All right, now we got Vanderbilt, the true shitters. When this right guy played, he was pretty good. Running. Fortunately, Abdullah got buried on the depth chart. He didn't really play this year. He had a good year last year. Receiving yards. Rashad Green, shout out to FSU. He's an SFA player. Blocking, how did Yankee do? 12-4. 6.5 sacks, pretty decent. Darquez Denard is honestly one of the biggest busts. He was a top 10 prospect, 3 career interceptions. That's just not good as a corner. Like, you could make the argument, oh, he's shut down. How did CJ Mosley do? This is just a team of bust and trash. Like, no way around it. Fuck Vanderbilt. How did Matt Sims do this year? 12-16, just gross. Virginia, 12-14. We don't really know much about this Virginia team, honestly. They haven't really done much in any of the years we've been doing this, so some decent sacks here and there. No SFA players, just a bad team. Virginia Tech, though, let's take a look. Blumrick. Obviously, this is Fink's team in real life. We have an inactive user on them. They do have an SFA player that I am very intrigued to see how he performed. He's coming up on defense. Roderick Rook, Chungong, 4.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. This is pretty good, but not Team of the Year worthy. But freshman campaign, I'll take it, right? 4.5 led the team besides these two guys, so third. And then they have a kicker who transferred last season from Notre Dame. He went 13-20, 65%. That's not what you want to see. Wake Forest, one of the shitter teams. They had like 3 different quarterbacks play. No 1,000-yard rushers. This guy won the, I don't think he won the Belentikov last year. He had 1,700 yards, and then this season, nothing. Fell off. 7.5 sacks there. Pretty good. Nothing outstanding, though. Washington, painful end to their season. The offense was just dreadful. Michael Dyer, SFA player. Do want to see what his career stats ended up being. So, in 2013, he was the starting running back. Interesting. Receiving, 2,000-yard receivers. Lots of DJ Fluker, SFA player. He's a senior. Defensively, we've gone through this today. Chris Davis had his moment. One of the best plays in SFA history, in my opinion. Washington State, probably another shit team. 20-8. Not that bad. Yeah, I'll give this team some credit, honestly, for being one of the worst teams in SFA history. We're almost to the end, my guy. 2 hours, 40 minutes, goddamn. Janikowski, that's not the Janikowski. Alright, West Virginia. How did one of my favorite players of all time do? Nelson Spruce, he had one rush. Okay, 500 yards, 4 receptions. That's good. I'll take that. I love me some Nelson Spruce. I really hope he turns out to be something great. He was at Wisconsin. He transferred to West Virginia. Greatest buff of all time. And he was on the LA Wildcats in the SFL. The XFL. I got to see him in person. Alright, Western Kentucky. Ooh. Man, dude, this is going... I'm just talking for 2 straight hours going through all of this. Alright, Western Michigan. Fink, you're back up. Cargman, he started playing alright once you went to the air raid. Rushing, kind of sad for Snoop. He missed 5 weeks, I believe, with an injury. This Wilson guy played well for you. You know, and you got the win that mattered, right? You had to abandon this team. Now let's check your SFA players, because you have a few here. Oliver Waldorf, 1 interception, 6 tackles, not much there. And then I'm very interested in how Switzer played. Wow, he only got 1 tackle in the season. Okay, so he did not even start. Kicker, Wisconsin, another team I'm interested in seeing. Graham Mertz, who is behind, guys. He finally gets his moment. Spencer Ware and Kim Stingley. So Stingley is an SFA player. He got a Freshman All-American Award for returner. Good grief, my man. 3-hour stream, baby. Yeah. These ones are always a doozy. But I think it's important to have all of this for, like, the history. So Nick O'Leary. He had a beast game. Josh Kirkpatrick, another SFA player. Alright, I'll check my DMs and everything after this. Defensively, Ed Davis, SFA player, 14, 2.5. Dechard Pippins, Team of the Year guy. Who else? I believe that's it. Joey Cool, 8 for 12. That's not what you want to see. Wyoming, the last team. And they have one of the best SFA players now. Let's see here. Hollingsworth. Alright. This is a team that also I've always kind of been intrigued by. Maybe trying to recruit a Josh Allen-esque type dude. Well, let's take a look once again at the defender. He's number 1 safety, freshman. How does this guy not get freshman All-American? Like, what a snub. What a snub. This man is a beast. He also blocked something. Or no, he had a defensive touchdown. Like, come on, man. Put some respect on this dude's name. This is the rest of these teams. Kicker, Holland. And with that, that is it. I want to go back just quickly through kick returns, just to show you. Kirkwood had 2. Marcus Lattimore had 1. Le'Veon Bell had a return. Jabari Small, J.J. Nelson, Montgomery had 1. Jordan Houston had 1. That was actually my tutty tally. He saved me. Paul Richardson had 1. We still have never seen one happen on game day, unfortunately. Now, punt returns. This one I think, would be hilarious if it happened on a game day. The amount of clowning that would go on because of it. But no SFA players got one. All right. Well, that is the stream. I'm going to put the Team of the Year together, and I'm going to post it probably tonight. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, just scroll around. Go to the teams you want, right? You know, this is one of those where I don't expect anyone to watch it unless they're looking for information. So thanks for watching. 2 hours and 45 minutes. Let's go.